All right, beautiful. Thank you for joining me for a 60-minute Yin Yoga class. This is a floor-based class. You'll need a yoga mat or carpeted area, and you might want a pillow or a towel or blanket nearby. You don't need any fancy yoga props, but maybe a pillow or blanket. In Yin Yoga, we will hold postures for 3 to 5 minutes of time. So, we don't want to push ourselves to the deepest extent that our body can go in a posture. The idea is you do about 70% of, what you think you should be doing in a posture, go to about 70% of your bodily limit, and then we just hold and breathe for long periods of time. So we stretch into muscles, but we also stretch into connective tissue, into tendons, ligaments, joints, fascia. But before we hop into Yin Yoga, we will do a breathing exercise, always beginning with our breath. Today's breathing exercise is called 4-2-7 breathing. It's kind of like a cousin to 4-7-8 breathing if you've ever tried that. You'll inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold the breath for 2, and then exhale through your nose for a count of 7. So the idea is you inhale fairly fast, hold for a short period of time, and then slowly exhale, which brings the body into the parasympathetic nervous system response, telling the body that there's no need to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I really like 4-2-7 breathing because you can do it in public without anyone knowing that you're doing it. So if I'm ever like having a stressful conversation, for example, I'll sometimes employ 4-2-7 breathing to calm my nervous system. And it's a little less obvious than if you do 4-7-8 breathing, which the exhale is through the mouth. Okay, so sitting up tall, that's my little spiel. You can close your eyes. Closing your eyes is distracting. You can do a soft, fuzzy gaze just beyond the tip of your nose. Relax your shoulders, relax your face, relax your jaw, seal your lips, and begin. Inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the inhale, 1, 2. Exhale through your nose, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale through your nose, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 1, 2. Exhale through your nose, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 2, 1. Exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4. Hold the breath for 2. Exhale for 7. Inhale for 4. You can count to 4 if that helps you center your thoughts. Hold for 2. Slowly exhale through the nose for 7. We'll do 2 more minutes of 4-2-7 breathing. If your mind is wandering, just returning to the 4-2-7 count. Let's do one more full round of 4-2-7 breathing. Whenever you're ready, just return your breath to normal, in and out through your nose. If at any point in class you find that you're having trouble being still or your mind is wandering, You have this tool of your breath to return to, right? You can just return your thoughts to your breath, taking slow inhales and exhales, and everything starts to slow down a little bit and become a little bit more manageable. If your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. And we're going to start lying on our back with our first posture, a fan favorite, banana pose, Bananasana. You're going to lie on your back with your feet close together, arms down by your side. Just take a moment here to feel your body on the floor. Let the floor hold you up. And picture in your mind's eye your favorite banana. Can be perfectly yellow and ripe, maybe brown and bruised, or even a little green. Can be, fair trade, organic, local, whatever that is. And we're going to make that banana shape with our bodies. So bring your feet close together, arms overhead. If you'd like, you can flex your toes back and stretch up and down. Always feels good, like you're having a good yawn. And from here, start to walk your hands and your feet to the right side of your mat, stretching the left side body, gently compressing the right side body. And from here, I'm going to give a bunch of options. If lying on your back does not feel good to your lower back, you're welcome to place blankets or pillows under the lumbar spine or any other part of your back that could use a little extra support. You could also place a pillow underneath your knees to flatten out the lower back. You are welcome to keep your feet together side by side, or you can cross your left foot on top of your right foot for a left thigh IT band stretch. You can keep your hands side by side, or you can cross your left hand on top of the right hand. Other options, you can bend your arms and catch opposite elbow and opposite hand. Or if having the arms overhead is not pleasant for the shoulders, you could also have one or both arms down by your side. We're going to hold here for 5 minutes, and we are already a minute in. So again, the idea with Yin Yoga is you make a shape with your body, hold the shape, and breathe through your nose. Pretty simple. And if at any point it becomes a little bit too much of a stretch, right, you can ease up a little bit by bringing your hands and feet closer into the center line of your mat. Or, if halfway through the posture you're really not feeling anything, you can deepen the stretch by bringing your hands and feet further to the right side of your mat. But again, we're holding here for 5 minutes, so a little bit goes a long way. You're welcome to keep the back of your head on the floor, or if it feels good, you can start to roll your right ear down towards the floor. So there's a little bit of like a side neck and shoulder stretch as well. And from here, we'll just hold and breathe through the nose. We have about 2 minutes left. If you need to adjust what you're doing, or grab a pillow for under your back or your knees or head, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, just hold and breathe. Often I find at the beginning of a Yin Yoga posture, I don't feel much. And then halfway through, we really start to feel the posture in the body, or sometimes I don't even feel it until the next day. But just keep in mind, again, when you hold postures for long periods of time, you're not just working into your muscles, right? You're working into your tendons, your ligaments, your joints, your fascia, and a little bit goes a long way. So err on the side of doing a little less than you think you should. With about 30 seconds left in the posture, if you'd like a little bit of a deeper stretch at the end, you can bring your hands and feet further to the right side of the room. Otherwise, just hold and breathe where you are, knowing that there's light at the end of the tunnel with this posture. Take a slow inhale through your nose and a slow exhale through your nose. We will start to very slowly and intentionally come out of the posture, starting with the head. If your head is rolled to the right, gently roll your head so that the back of your head is on your mat. If your arms are bent, straighten your arms. If your hands are crossed, uncross your hands. If your feet are crossed, uncross your feet. And then carefully walk your hands and feet back to the center line. You can stretch up and down, flexing your toes back. And then take your arms down into puddle pose. So in Yin Yoga, what other styles of yoga refer to as Savasana or corpse pose, we call puddle pose. You're acting like a puddle of water. You can open your arms and legs as much as you'd like. If lying on your back with your legs straight does not feel good to you, right, that's really normal. Couple options. Again, you can place a blanket or pillow under your lower back for support. You can also bend your legs so that your feet are about hip width distance. Let your knees rest together. And if lying on your back still does not feel good, you're welcome to lie on your side instead. The idea is we're just stretching everything out, lengthening the spine in between postures. Okay, let's do the other side of our banana pose. So bringing your feet close together again, arms overhead, you can stretch up and down. And then start to walk your hands and feet to the left side of your mat this time. Now, for the sake of symmetry, right, if you crossed your left foot over your right foot on the other side, you might want to cross your right foot over your left foot on this side to stretch the right IT band. However, we aren't symmetrical, right? This side might necessitate something different. So, right, again, you're welcome to have your hands crossed. You're welcome to bend your arms and catch your elbows. You can have one or both arms down by your side. You can place a pillow under your knees to flatten out your lower back. You can place a pillow under your lower back or any part of the back that could use a little extra support, right? And then we're just going to hold and breathe. The back of your head is on the floor. You can keep it there or start to roll your left ear down towards your mat. So there's a little bit of a right neck, right shoulder stretch. In this posture, right, we're stretching the right side body, gently compressing the left side body, bending our spine, especially if your arms are overhead. We're also working through chest and shoulder tightness. And if your right foot is crossed on top of your left foot, right, you're working into the outer right thigh and IT band a little bit more. You also might feel this posture in your hip. Right, stretch is okay, but we're never going to a point of pain. See if you can really soften into your yoga practice. Soften onto the mat, soften onto the floor, soften into the posture. So you're not forcing or fighting, you're just breathing and melting. With about 2 minutes left in the posture, right? If you need to adjust what you're doing or grab a prop or remove a pillow or blanket, you're welcome to do so. And then just take note of where you might still be holding on to tension and see if you can relax one more muscle in your body. Just getting a little bit heavier on the floor. So about 30 seconds left. You can stay just as you are, or if you'd like a little bit of a deeper stretch, walk your hands and feet further to the left side room at the end. As you inhale to your nose, feel your chest rise. Exhale to your nose, let your chest fall. If your head is rolled to the left, slowly roll your head so that the back of your head is on the floor. If your arms are bent, straighten your arms. If your hands are crossed, uncross your hands. If your feet are crossed, uncross your feet. And then slowly walk your hands and feet back to center. Again, you can stretch up and down. And then take your arms down back into your puddle pose or whatever version of a neutral spine posture feels good for you. Breathe. So this is time that you've set aside for yourself. And I want you to do whatever feels right for your body, whatever feels good and true for yourself during this time, right? So I'll always offer modifications to postures or different versions of yoga asanas. But if what I offer doesn't speak to you right, you can always do something else as well. This is time just for you. Next, we're going to do a back bend on our abdomen. I will provide an alternative if lying on your stomach does not feel good right now. You're going to bend your legs if they're not already so that your feet are together, knees together. Roll off to one side. And if you'd like, you can even like hug your knees in and give yourself a nice little hug here. And then lengthen your legs, roll onto your abdomen for Sphinx Pose. So for Sphinx Pose, can have your feet about hip width distance, relaxed on the floor. You're going to bend your arms so that your forearms are on the floor about shoulder width distance. So it looks like this, or from the front, it looks like this. Couple options here. You can have your elbows under your shoulders. This is a pretty big back bend. You can also walk your arms forward to lessen the back bend, and this can take pressure off of the shoulders. Now, if lying on your abdomen does not feel good today, an alternative is to lie on your back, and we're going to use some pillows to get a back bend. So you'll lie facing away from your pillows, butt up against the pillows, one big pillow for your middle back, and then another pillow for your head, and you'll simply lie back so that you get this nice heart opener and spinal compression without having to be on your stomach. Make sure that you have a pillow for under your head so that your neck is not like hanging all the way off, right? We're going to hold here for 3 more minutes. Great. Now, if you are in Sphinx Pose, something that I struggle with in this posture is that my shoulders will like creep up into my ears. There's a little bit of activation through the elbows and lower arms here. So try to keep your neck long and your shoulders out of your ears. We tend to hunch forward a lot, like over, our food, over our work. The number one thing that we hunch forward over are cell phones, right? And so doing these back bends can feel kind of intense, but they're really healthy for your spine, particularly in the winter where we also hunch forward when it's cold out, right? Opening through the chest is a really great way to release tension from the chest. And it's just a little bit of healing compression to the spine. But again, if you're in Sphinx Pose, a little bit of activation through the forearms to keep the shoulders out of the ears and the neck long. In general, with Yin Yoga, we want to relax into postures. But in some postures, right, there's certain parts of your body that you do want to keep active. So in this one, it's the lower arms, the elbows pressing down. But see if you can relax through the soles of your feet, your calves and hamstrings, your glutes and pelvic floor, your abdomen relax, jaw relax. Right? Breathe. We have a little less than a minute left. Our final 30 seconds, if you're in Sphinx pose and you'd like a deeper back bend, you can take it into seal pose. Spread your fingers wide, press your knuckles down, and try to straighten your arms. Keep the shoulders out of the ears. Breathe. Inhale through your nose. Slowly exhale through your nose. And as you're ready, roll lower down. If you are in Sphinx pose, you can, of course, turn and lie on your back or your side, or you can take an abdominal version of puddle pose with either your forehead on the floor, or you can look to one side. You can bend your arms so that your hands are close to your face, or you can take your arms down. And if you are in a supported back bend on your back, there's a couple ways to get out of it. Of course, you can elbow yourself up or roll yourself out. For me, I like to keep the pillow under the head, bend your legs so that your feet are on the floor, squeeze your butt, press your heels down, lift your hips off the floor, remove the pillow from underneath the lower back. Option to keep the pillow under your head or lift your head, remove the pillow from under your head, and now you're back in your puddle pose. If you are lying on your abdomen in puddle pose and you're looking to one side, gently lift your head and look to the other side, so the other side of your neck gets a stretch. If you're looking to one side, slowly look forward, place your hands on the floor, and press yourself up into a seated position. If you are lying on your back or your side, right, you can roll off and then gently press yourself up into a seated position. Next, we'll do a hip opener called Swan Pose. In other styles of yoga, it's called Pigeon Pose, but in Yin Yoga, it's called Swan Pose, which I think is fun. And I will provide a few alternatives to Swan Pose if this does not feel right for you. Take a moment here. You're going to come onto all fours in a tabletop position. Look at your arms and legs. Identify which arm is left, which arm is right, which leg is right, which leg is left. Don't mix them up. Start to slide your right knee towards your right wrist and bring your right foot towards your left hand. From here, start to slide your left foot back so that your leg lengthens. Now, eventually your hip might even come onto the floor. Doesn't have to be today or tomorrow. You can place a pillow or rolled up blanket underneath your hip for support. Look back, make sure that your left ankle, knee, and hip are in line, so your leg's not going to one side or the other. This is our Swan Pose. If Swan Pose is not speaking to you, you're gonna come out of the posture, and I'll give you two figure four alternatives. Option one is a seated figure four. You'll sit on your butt with your feet behind you. Keep your legs bent, left foot on the floor. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. And now you get this same opener to the right hip, right side seat, and right sciatic nerve without being on your hips, right? So this is called figure four. And you're also welcome to do figure four on your back. So lying on your back, you could keep the foot on the floor, or you could lift it off the floor and even interlace your fingers behind your left thigh and pull down. This is called supine figure four. All three of these options, again, work into the right side seat. They work into the right hip. It's a really good hip opener. And they're also good for sciatic nerve pain. So if you have sciatica, right, this is your posture, and you're stretching out that nerve. If you are in your Swan Pose, you are welcome to stay lifted with your fingers on the floor. You can also kind of bow your swan and come down, maybe even head to the floor. And we're going to hold here for 2 more minutes. Now, if you're in Swan Pose, right, still try to keep the shoulders out of the ears, neck is long. Again, you can stay lifted in a back bend or fold forward with a flat back. Just keeping the shoulders out of the ears as you breathe through your nose. This is an example of a posture where some of us feel it right away, but for others of us, right, it really starts to intensify as you get a little bit deeper into posture, right? So you might feel the right hip start to talk to you, or the right glute start to talk to you, and that's okay. In Yin Yoga, we're not going to a point of pain, but a little bit of uncomfortability is okay, right? If you're just a little uncomfortable in the posture, that's not a bad place to be. Somebody once described it to me as like, you know, in the middle of the night when you need to use the bathroom and you're like debating in your head, like, should I get up or not, or can I sleep through it? That's uncomfortable, right? When you kind of need to go pee. That's uncomfortable, but it's not painful. An uncomfortability like that in Yin Yoga is okay, but never a point where you're like making a face, gritting your teeth, holding your breath, right? That's when it's time to ease up. About 30 seconds left. Take an inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. If you're folded in swan, look forward. Slowly walk your hands in, wrists under the shoulders. You're going to slowly lift your hips up, bend the left leg, then take the right knee back into your tabletop position. Any sort of counter stretch you want to do, like a child's pose or even a down dog, you're welcome to do so. And then turn, lie on your back for puddle pose. And if you were in any sort of figure four, right, you simply uncross that right leg. And same thing, find your way into a neutral spine, relaxed position. We often carry some tension or even like emotion in our shoulders and our hips. So when we do hip openers like pigeon pose, sometimes people will have an urge to like cry or to laugh, or sometimes in the posture you don't feel much, but when you come out of it, all of a sudden it feels quite intense. So any sort of like, I guess, reaction that you're having to the posture, even including an emotional reaction, is really normal. There's nothing wrong with you. If nobody has told you yet today, there's nothing wrong with you, but there's also nothing wrong with you practicing yoga, right? Even if it elicits a strong response from time to time. Before we do the other side of Swan Pose, we're going to do a shoulder opener called Open Wing Pose. And there's two ways to get into it. One way to get into it is on your side, and the other way is on your back. So I'm going to show you how to do it on your back, and then I'm going to show you how to do it from your side. Okay, so pardon me, if you're on your abdomen, so you can roll over onto your abdomen. Identify left and right, don't mix them up. If you're on your abdomen, you're going to bring your left hand out to the left, wrist and shoulder in line. Bend your right arm so that your right hand is underneath your right shoulder. Look to the right and start to push your right hand into the floor, roll back. You can bend your right leg so that your right foot is on the floor. So we're opening the wing, the shoulder. You can place a pillow underneath your left ear. You can also take your right arm up, reach behind you, and catch your hands together for a bind. But I find, we're going to hold this posture for 3 minutes, and I find this can be a little bit intense. So I'm going to keep my right hand on the floor. If having your right hip stacked on top of your left hip is too intense, come back down, abdomen towards the floor. You can even bend your right knee and have your knee on the floor. So that's how to get onto it from the abdomen. From your side, it's a little bit awkward, right? But you're gonna lie on your side, walk your hand back behind you, and then same thing, right? You can have a pillow underneath your head, in between your knees, anything that feels good to you. You can have both legs bent, pillow in between the knees, or you can have your bottom left leg long, bend your right leg, right foot on the floor. Holding here for 3 minutes, and we're already a minute in. With about 30 seconds left, you can stay just as you are, or if you'd like to try that bind, you can reach your right arm up towards the ceiling, drape it behind you, and eventually you can interlace your fingers behind you, really starting to squeeze the shoulders together as you open through the chest. Inhale, feel your ribs expand. Exhale, feel your ribs contract. If your right hand is draped behind you, uninterlace your fingers, take your right arm up, bend your right arm, place your right hand on the floor close to your shoulder. You can slowly, simply roll down onto your abdomen, going back into a belly savasana. Or if you do not want to roll into your abdomen, push your right hand into the floor, awkwardly push yourself up a little bit, slide that left arm out from under you. And then again, you can lie on your side or on your back in savasana. So backside or abdomen puddle pose are all options. In some styles of yoga, we're encouraged to do relatively the same thing, like 26 and 2 yoga. I love that, right? We all do the exact same posture with some modifications, of course. But in this style of yoga, it really is like, what's the spirit of the posture, right? Are we opening our hips, our chest, our shoulders, our back? And then we go from there. But there can be different versions of puddle pose, different versions of, swan pose or figure 4 or open wing. Again, just learning to trust ourselves and really get in tune with what it is that we need in this moment, which might be different from the last time you practiced yoga, and that's okay. Okay, you're going to slowly make your way into a seated position again. We will start with the other side of our swan pose. So coming on to all fours, figure 4. And if you already know that figure 4 is better for you than tabletop, right? You can take the figure 4 either seated or on your back. Otherwise, swan pose, look at your left, look at your right. Bend your left knee towards your left wrist. Bring your left foot towards the right wrist. Slowly slide your right leg back. Option to keep the hips down or place a pillow or blanket underneath that right hip. Look back, make sure your right ankle, knee, and hip are in line. And then just hold and breathe. And again, we're not symmetrical. So maybe what worked on the other side doesn't work on this side, and that's okay. So for example, if you did pigeon pose on the right side, but this one does not feel good, Come on up out of your pigeon. Again, for figure 4, you can sit on your butt, crossing left ankle over right thigh, or you can lie on your back and even hug your thighs in towards your abdomen and fingers interlace behind your right thigh. So lots of options. If you're in pigeon pose, right, you can keep your chest lifted for a little back bend. Again, you want to keep the shoulders out of the ears. You can also hold your swan, bow your swan, coming down, but keep your shoulders out of your ears. About 1 minute left in the posture. If there's somewhere that you're still kind of like holding on to tension or forcing, can you just relax your muscles into the posture? So in some styles of yoga, right, we contract muscles, but in Yin, we want to relax muscles. See if you can relax just a little bit deeper without letting the shoulders come into the ears, right? It's the one point of activation. Take a slow inhale through your nose, feel the backs of your ribs expand. A slow exhale through your nose, feel the backs of your ribs contract. If you're folded forward in swan, slowly start to walk your hands in under your shoulders, press yourself up. Slowly lift your hips up and back. Take the left knee back into your tabletop. And any motions that feel good to your body, you're welcome to do them here. Taking a little counter stretch. And then you can turn and either lie on your abdomen, on your back, or on your side, puddle pose. Notice any sensations in the body as you release out of the posture. Sometimes the release can be as intense as the experience itself, which I think is true outside of yoga too. Sometimes we go through something and we're feeling it, right? But afterwards, you really go, whoa, that just happened. If you're on your abdomen looking to one side, you can gently lift your head and look to the other side. And as you're ready, look forward. We will do the other side of open wing. So this time taking your right arm out to the right. Bend your left arm so that your hand is on the floor close to your shoulder. Press into the floor and roll left hip on top of right hip. And I like to have a pillow under my head so my head doesn't come off. And lots of options here, right? You can bend the left leg so the left foot is on the floor. You can have a pillow in between your legs. Or again, you can come down so that your chest is facing the floor, and then you still get the shoulder opener, but it's not as intense. If you're not building this from the abdomen, right, you lie on your side, slide your right arm out to the right, and then you're back in business. Okay. I'm gonna hold here for 2 more minutes. We have a minute left in the posture. With about 30 seconds, you can stay here, or if you would like, you can try lifting your left arm up, draping it behind you, and eventually, even bringing hands together. On the other side, my hands can clasp, and on this side, not so much, not at all. Inhale to your nose. Exhale to your nose. You have your left arm draped behind you. Reach it up towards the ceiling. Slowly place your left hand on the floor, and then slowly come out of it, rolling out, or again, just lifting up, sliding that arm out. And then you can be on your abdomen, your side, or your back for your neutral spine position. Breathe. Going to slowly roll off to one side or press yourself up if you're on your abdomen. Just making our way back into a seated position. Great. For a nice forward fold, stretching the backs of the legs. So you're going to sit on your butt with your feet on the floor in front of you, and take a moment to kind of rock your hips back, right and left. Can point your toes or flex your toes, and then just let your feet relax. Stick your butt out even more, and from here you can start to walk forward. Couple options: you can keep your back nice and flat, almost arching your spine so the neck stays long, shoulders out of the ears. You can also bend your arms onto your shins, drop your head and fold forward, which feels good to some people, but not to everyone, right? This can be quite intense on the lower back. You are also welcome to wedge pillows or blankets in between your thighs and your chest for a little extra support. And we're going to hold here for 4 minutes. This is just a nice way to stretch out the hamstrings and lengthen through the spine. Again, you can let your spine round into kind of like a cashew shape, or you can keep your back nice and long. Up to you. Especially in the winter months, I find that my hamstrings are tight. And again, there's plenty of yoga postures that stretch the backs of the legs. Some of them are quite active, right? Like we're pulling or we're standing or balancing. And this one, right, you're on your butt, you're on the floor, you're not going anywhere. And rather than like contracting your quadricep muscles or anything like that, you just want to focus on releasing the backs of the legs. So relax the fronts and the backs of your legs, right? Soften through your chest and shoulders. And rather than forcing or fighting, you're really melting into the posture. Let the floor hold you up. You have about 2 minutes left. If you need to adjust what you're doing, maybe like flatten out your back or drop your head, add or remove a prop, right? You're welcome to do so. Otherwise, just holding and breathing, relaxing even deeper in the second half of the asana. With about 30 seconds left in the posture, if you'd like to get a deeper stretch, you can think about folding forward even more. Keep the feet and hamstrings relaxed. Inhale through your nose. And this time, if it feels good, open your mouth and sigh out anything you'd like to. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Just letting your day go. Last one, inhale. Anything you want to let go of, sigh it out through the exhale breath. If your spine is rounded, you're going to gently look forward, lift your chin and chest. Place your hands on the floor, slowly walk yourself up. Oh, my hip just popped there. You can take a stop at the top. Any counter stretch you want to do, you're welcome to do. Sometimes I like to do a little flash dance here. Great. Okay. And then we're going to turn for final petal pose, final savasana. Of course, you can lie on your back or your side without props, but I'm going to invite you, if it feels fun, to place a little pillow underneath your knees, maybe a little pillow underneath your head, and maybe even a blanket over your body if that feels extra luxurious. So your legs are propped up just a little bit and your head feels really held. Today is an intentionally long 7-minute final savasana. So this is part of your yoga practice. This is not like, get up, I'm done with class. This is part of the whole shebang. You're welcome to have your arms down by your side or out to the side in a big expansive gesture. You can close your eyes. Take up as much or as little space as you'd like. Take a nice slow breath in through your nose and out through your nose. So I firmly believe that in any style of yoga that you practice, savasana, corpse pose, or again, what in Yin Yoga is called puddle pose, is the most important posture. Doesn't matter if it's a class that's all like handstands or a restorative yoga class or a hot yoga class. I really believe that savasana is the most important asana that we practice. And sometimes, it gets kind of pushed to the side or we don't have time for a nice long one. So today we're just experimenting with, what it feels like to really give yourself time at the end of class, just to breathe and be still. And scan your body for any lingering tension or places where you're kind of like holding on to something. See if you can just relax through the exhale breath. And also scan your heart, your mind, or your spirit for anything that you're holding on to there. And let it go through the exhale breath. Sometimes I find when I scan my body for tension, I notice, for example, that my shoulder is tight. And no matter, how much I concentrate on relaxing my shoulder, there's still tightness there. Similarly, sometimes when I scan my heart, my mind, or my spirit for something that I'm holding on to, as much as I try to let it go, it's still there. And that's okay, right? In body, mind, and spirit, sometimes we're just not ready to let go of something, and that's okay. A powerful practice in mindfulness, if you can't let go of something, again, whether it's a muscle that you can't let go of or a worry on your heart that you can't let go of, a powerful practice is to imagine what it would feel like in your body to let it go. So for example, if I can't release my jaw right now, I'm just going to imagine what it would feel like to release my jaw. If I can't shake that little bit of sadness that's been following me around all day, I'm just going to imagine what it would feel like to let that sadness go. And sometimes that's a good place to start, right? When we can't quite let go of something yet, just imagining what it might feel like, what it will feel like one day. Breathing in and breathing out. We have 3 more minutes here just to rest, relax, and be still. you have an urge to get up, you have 2 more minutes here. Fight that urge. Just give yourself permission to relax and breathe. This is part of your yoga class. You are welcome to stay in this final petal pose for as long as you'd like. I had a teacher who used to say, stay in Savasana until you no longer feel the urge to jump out of it. And that's when you're finally ready to get up, right? So if you want, you can take a nap or luxuriate here. When you do get up, I encourage you to get up slowly and mindfully. Sit up for a while before you stand up, especially if you have low blood pressure, because we have been on the floor for a while. Make sure that you drink lots of water throughout your evening to flush out the body. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope to see you all soon. Bye, friends.